Hi, Beth. So if you look at the news, there's so much chaos in the world right now. Bombings, killings, evacuations in Egypt and Gaza, and genocides in Africa, and unrest in South America. It's all over the world. And yet I was just in Rome with, 500,000 tourists, and not a single bit of conflict in the entire, week that I was there. Coming back through the international airports, there's, 100 nationalities all living perfectly harmonious together. How do I reconcile, on a daily basis, how I feel about the future of the world?
Yeah, I love that question because it's so relevant right now. And I like to just go back to you. If you have financial means and you want to donate to some great cause, that works. But it goes back to you in your community and with your people and how you feel, because otherwise we get our heads twisted around so many times with all of the unrest that's happening. I'm not saying you're ignoring it. I'm saying that you're actually anchoring in your peace and what you have right now, which is living in a great place that doesn't have unrest, and that you continue to be empathetic to the other people, because there's a lot of people right here in the community that are deeply impacted. They have family, they have friends, they have, their whole culture is at risk, abroad. And so it's still happening here. The unrest is here. And the way that I feel that we can help heal it is to not focus so much on what we can't do. And I'm not suggesting you are. I think a lot of people feel helpless though out there right now. And that's why you're asking the question. And it's to look at our brothers and sisters out in the community with love in our eyes, that when we see someone that, they might be acting really ridiculously. They might be from a different culture. They might be, Egyptian. They might be Israeli. They might be, from the Ukraine. And we don't really know what's going on behind their screen. We don't know what's really deep in their heart. And so I think that every moment of now is how we project our light and love out into the world. And that has a ripple effect, because that one person that maybe you saw at Starbucks or you see somewhere that you make that eye contact with, and maybe you just smile, you don't necessarily have to say anything, can really just give them this feeling of being seen, acknowledgement, and validation of who they are. And that can help ripple energetically back to their own family and their systems, because everybody wants to have, not everybody, but a lot of people want to have an opinion, and they want to voice their opinion. And so sometimes it's just listening to other people. There was a story that I shared, and I just feel compelled to share it again. It was a lesson for me that I went and I was walking Lily, and we sat at a bench, and I sat next to this guy that I don't know. And I wasn't sure if he was homeless or he was, he could have been wealthy. I don't know. But he looked maybe a little bit edging on the homeless side. And he said something, I think I said, oh, it's a beautiful day, just wanting to acknowledge, like, the beautiful place we're in. And he said something about politics. And I said, oh yeah, that's interesting. And I just kept saying, wow, that's interesting. And of course I wanted to say something about what I thought, and I love to engage in conversation in general, not as a debate, but just as a, a sharing. What I found is that when I just listened and I just heard what he needed to say, it really helped. So as basic as the advice may sound, I feel like for the entire world, the best thing we can do is to really anchor in loving our brothers and sisters as we're out walking the earth. And when we see the media, I would say try not to get so wrapped up in watching all of it. Tune in, get a tidbit here, get a tidbit there, so you kind of know what the pulse is. But man, it's so easy to get suckered in, especially with the algorithms. You watch one, and then the next one comes, and then the next one comes, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, your whole YouTube channel is filled with, the same topic, right? Whether it's a political or it's a, something about the wars or whatever. And so, just monitor yourself. Really, just go, hey, am I watching more of this versus like, what are my inspirational things? What are the things that I'm doing to do energy clearing? Or what am I doing to expand my consciousness? Or, where's the balance of the media that you're watching as well? Because I think that's the beauty. I haven't had a TV since 2005, and I absolutely love that because I don't have to be part of any of that world. And yet I have a wonderful platform like YouTube where I can go in and pick and choose what I want to see and what I want my algorithms to show me. So just kind of look at it like that. Like, how do I want to balance like what I'm exposing myself to? And then when you're out there in the world, also when you're in conversation with others and they start talking about the political scene or the war scene, just if it resonates for you, say to yourself, I'm going to give this topic 5 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day. And then if you've reached that threshold, you just say, yeah, you know what? I think you're bringing up a really good point about the war. But I just realized that, I've had my fill of that topic today, and I'd love to talk to you about, and then just have something in line. Like, I'd love to talk to you about something really positive and bring that forward. Like, yeah, whatever that is. I don't know, whatever your topics are that you really like to talk about. And that will open people's hearts as opposed to close them. And so, I think that's really the wisdom that comes through to implement on a daily basis. Is that helpful? Anyone online, please, if you're watching on replay, you can always put a comment. You can add questions. You can go to bethbell.me/question. And there's so many other resources on bethbell.me. If you haven't done the State of the Heart assessment, please do. It's so important to know your state of the heart. And there's also the Awakening and Healing Handbook. Lots of tips, tools, techniques, modalities in there to help you with all of your awakening and spiritual growth. There's also the Psychedelics Resource Guide, which is a beautiful way to really dip into psychedelics and understand a little bit more about them. And maybe someone that is interested in them. It talks a lot about the integration. So there's a lot of juicy stuff in there. And then there's also the Herpes Handbook, which I love talking about herpes. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I'll say it every week that it's a virus of the mind. We need to release this. And so the handbook goes into a lot of great information on herpes and the mind viruses that we get ourselves into. So please check those out. And I look forward to seeing you again next week, every Sunday, 11:11 Pacific time. Oh, and if you're interested in the Awaken Inner Wisdom community membership, you can also check that out on bethbell.me. So lots of resources there. I look forward to seeing you again next week. And until then, wishing you much bliss and love on the journey. Namaste.